Hey guys, this is Christian, or Professor Bees. Today is a special day for many people, including myself, as we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the amazing Pokemon franchise. Millions of people have their own story of how they got into it, and in this video I will be sharing my earliest memories of this beloved phenomenon. I was about 6 years old when I first came across Pokemon. My little brother had to go to speech therapy when he was young. I remember having to go with him and my mom most of the time, as we just moved to this town and no one else could watch me after school. There was a little girl in the waiting room playing with these small figures, and the most prominent one I can remember playing with was a little red dragon, who we all know by now as Charizard. Needless to say, like many children back then, I was hooked and needed more. But this was only the beginning. One day we were visiting my mom's old friends from my hometown, and her son, who was slightly younger than me. He had Pokemon VS tapes and cards. It was from him that I received my first Pokemon card, a holographic Raichu, which I still have to this day. My mom's other friend from her hometown also had a younger son, who collected cards and VHS tapes as well. These two boys became my most favorite to visit, as my parents would not buy me cards, tapes, or any other merchandise, as they could clearly see I'd become very obsessed with this conundrum. There was no escaping it either. It was everywhere in the late 90s and early 2000s. Televisions, books, keychains, toys, cards, games, video games, board games, stickers, newspapers, magazines. I still have old wrappers from Pokemon being printed on cereal boxes, fruit by the foot, Rice Krispie treats, the list goes on. It was everywhere. At one point I was having many difficulties in math, and my mom actually bought me a Pokemon math booklet, which was just a book full of multiplication questions with Pokemon occasionally printed on a corner of a page. My grandma would also buy me knickknacks, like she once bought me a few spoons, found some old Pokemon cards from outside a gas station. Eventually she came to buy me my first Pokemon game, Pokemon Silver Edition, but I may cover that sometime later. In school I did not have too many friends. It seemed like something big as Pokemon would have opened doors to meeting some new ones, wouldn't it? Well, that wasn't the case. I went to a private Christian school, but we were just in the 2nd grade. It didn't really get that bad till I was about in 4th grade, but that's a whole new other story for some time else. The school system wasn't to blame for my lack of socialization. No, they let the kids play with their cards and toys and such. Main problem was our class had about 18 boys and 6 girls, and I was only one of the 2 that was into Pokemon. The boys in my class, there was one named Jacob, and he had the most Pokemon junk in my whole 2nd grade class. I remember asking Jacob if I could trace the Mew and Mewtwo on his folder, but he told me no. The other girl in the class who really liked Pokemon was this girl Morgan. We both were the weird girls in our class. Other than liking Pokemon, I'm not really sure what else 8-year-olds could classify as weird that now or back in the 90s, who knows. We were both really artsy, maybe that had to do with it. Anyway, one day my mom and Morgan's mom had to come talk to our teacher because it seemed I was causing a ruckus with Morgan. Apparently she had a Pikachu card, and back then, everyone had to have one. You just had to. I had Raichu back then, but no Pikachu. I would tell Morgan on a regular basis for a few weeks that if she did not hand over her Pikachu card, then I would not be her friend. Really shallow of me, I know, but that was how big of a deal Pokemon was back then. This would cause my mom to further stand on her reason not to allow me to mess with Pokemon at all in the house, because I was too cuckoo for Pokemon. I can't imagine kids today doing something like that. There's like over 720 who knows how much more over the course of the year may take us. And now there's like 50 Pikachu design cards. This Pikachu I'm painting right now is based off of the card I had such a huge fuss over. I don't think I even liked him in the first place, although I gotta say I'm a much bigger fan of him with no neck. Back in the 90s, Nintendo now's got him in a peanut shape now. He's got a neck now. At least they fixed that with Pikachu Detective and gave him a voice of a very handsome Japanese man. My mom was hoping this phase would go out one day, but yet here we are 20 years later, and it really shows no signs of stopping now with new games being announced. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to my story, guys. Everyone's is a little different. Why not share your story with me in the comments? I absolutely love hearing how everyone got into this hot mess of monster pocketing, one way or another. Thanks once again. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.